The billionaire sees street kid taking care of 3 babies. What he discovers is shocking. Alex Jensen rolled down the tinted window of his gleaming limousine, the cold, damp Seattle air invading the cozy warmth inside. The rain poured relentlessly, turning the streets into rivers of gray, reflecting the dismal mood of the day. But amid this dreary backdrop, something caught his eye that jolted him to attention. A young street kid, Jamie, was crouched protectively on the sidewalk, a halo of tattered old blankets surrounding 3 tiny babies. Against the rain, their innocent faces peeking out with wide, trusting eyes. How could a kid like Jamie, barely older than a teenager, assume such a deep responsibility? It was an enigma wrapped in a weather-worn blanket. The city buzzed indifferently around them, the hurried footsteps of passers-by, their umbrellas flicking rapidly like trapped birds, barely noticing the poignant chaos. As he absorbed the scene, his heart began to race. He watched Jamie's gentle hands stroke the baby's hair, a soothing rhythm against the backdrop of the storm. Instinctively, Alex reached for his phone, ready to call for help. But just as the urge to act surged within him, he saw a rugged man approach, his face shadowed, his body language radiating hostility. The man shoved his hands into his pockets, eyes darting between Jamie and the babies, a predator sizing up the vulnerable. An icy thrill of foreboding coursed through Alex. Was it danger? Desperation? The weight of a decision slammed down on him. Should he intervene? Or would stepping out of his lavish bubble plunge him deeper into the raw reality, overwhelming Jamie's world? He hesitated, torn between the luxurious life he had built and the undeniable pull of empathy tugging at his soul. Jamie stood tall, defiance painted across her face. "Get lost," she shouted, the fierceness surprising even herself. The man moved closer, his intentions unclear, yet veiled in a darkness that felt suffocating. A lump lodged in Alex's throat. Was this his moment to speak up, to step into the chaos? Yet a whisper of doubt slithered through his mind. Wasn't the rich supposed to remain aloof, untouched by the struggles of the world outside? Time slowed. The rain turned from a light shower to a torrential downpour, amplifying the urgency of the moment. The crowd continued to ebb and flow, ignorant of the lives intertwined before them. Alex's heart hammered in rhythm with the rain, each beat echoing like a clock ticking down to a decision that could unravel everything he knew. Can Alex break the walls of his fortress and act in a way he never thought possible? Or will fear keep him locked away in his gilded cage, allowing Jamie and those innocent souls to tumble into uncertainty? Hey, before we continue with this incredible story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Just take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content coming up. And since you're here, smash that like button because it really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who is part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's interact. The rain slammed against the windows of the limousine, each drop a reminder of the urgency outside. Alex's heart raced, caught between the fear for Jamie and the threat looming over her. He could sense the tension, a thick fog hanging in the air as he watched the confrontation unfold. "Get away from us," Jamie shouted, her voice fierce yet shaking. The stranger's presence pressed like a weight on her small frame. The crowd buzzed around them, eyes darting, whispers circulating, but no one dared intervene. It was a scene frozen in time, one heartbeat echoing through the chaos, a decision awaited. With adrenaline pumping, Alex swung the door open. The cold air hit him like a slap, but he pushed forward, stepping into the downpour. He felt brave, yet terrified, as he moved closer to the standoff. Just as he was about to reach Jamie, something unexpected happened. A piercing scream shattered the moment, slicing through the rain. Alex turned, eyes wide. A woman raced down the street, her face pale, wild with panic. "It's him! It's him!" she screamed, pointing. The crowd parted like a curtain, revealing a group of serious-looking men in dark suits, moving with purpose. They were not here for pleasantries. They were hunters in search of their prey. The stranger's demeanor shifted instantly. He turned, eyes flashing with anger and fear. "No, it's not what you think," he yelled, backing away from Jamie, but the suits advanced, closing. The tension in the air crackled, the storm above reflecting the turmoil below. Suddenly the man turned back to Jamie, his expression morphing from menacing to desperate. "They're after me. You have to trust me." His voice quaked, pleading. It was a shocking contrast to the threat he had posed only moments before. Alex froze, heart racing. Was this a trap, or was the man truly in danger? Jamie's innocent eyes darted between the two men, confusion swirling. "Why should I trust you?" she shot back, her bravery converging with fear. Before he could process the whirlwind of emotions, one of the suited men lunged forward, grabbing the stranger by the collar. The urgency escalated as whispers of the package buzzed through the crowd like a live wire. The man gasped, struggling, and then a glimmer of recognition sparked in his eyes, an unsettling familiarity that made Alex's heart plummet. "Wait!" Alex shouted, caught up in a torrent he couldn't understand. "What's going on?" But there was no time for answers. The moment hung heavy in the rain, tense and electric. The air thickened with uncertainty. Alex's breath hitched. The words of a twisted narrative echoed ominously in his mind. Was Jamie truly just a street kid, or was she somehow linked to this chaos? The stranger, still writhing in the grasp of the suits, locked eyes with Jamie. "You're more important than you know. They want you," he barked desperately, every word. Shocking Alex to his core, a tidal wave of realization crashed over him. What had he walked into? The question hit hard, revealing layers he couldn't begin to comprehend. Was Jamie just a caretaker, or was she the key to something deeper and far more dangerous? Panic surged in Alex's chest. Would their lives ever be the same again? Or had he just stepped into a world woven with secrets and shadows, where innocence was just the beginning of a much larger conspiracy? "Don't move," the suits shouted, and the crowd gasped, tension reaching a breaking point, leaving Alex standing frozen, grappling with a truth that might change everything. What was he about to uncover in this storm? The tension hung like a heavy mist in the air. Alex stood there, heart pounding, adrenaline surging through his veins. The crowd shifted, eyes wide, collective breaths held, as the suited men closed in on the stranger, who was still grappling with fear. "You're more important than you know. They want you." Those words echoed in Alex's mind, casting shadows over everything he'd believed up until now. "Don't move," one of the men barked, the authority in his voice wrapping around Alex like a noose. Jamie looked terrified, fists clenched tight, her gaze darting between Alex and the stranger. She was caught in a storm of confusion, caught between two worlds, neither of which showed compassion. "What the hell is going on?" Alex asked, desperation cracking his voice, but no one answered. The suited men pushed forward, shoving the stranger against the cold brick wall, their faces set with grim determination. The whole scene felt surreal, as if it were a twisted drama unfolding right in front of him. Then, in one chaotic moment, everything shifted. With a sudden, wild lurch, the stranger broke free from their grip, reaching deep into his pocket. The crowd gasped collectively. "Stay back," he shouted, panic igniting the air. He pulled out a small device, its surface gleaming ominously in the rain-soaked gloom. "What is that?" Alex shouted, unease flooding him. The stranger's eyes blazed with a frantic energy, his voice rising above the din. "You don't understand. This isn't what you think. Jamie's face went pale. What does that mean? She cried, her innocence illuminating the darkness. Before anyone could process the sudden turn, the device exploded in a blinding flash of light. An ear-shattering sound ripped through the air, cracking like thunder. Everyone stumbled back, hands shielding their eyes. The blast sent a shockwave, pushing the crowd back like a tidal wave. Bodies collided, fear erupting. Alex's heart sank. His instincts kicked in. He lunged for Jamie, instinctively yanking her to the ground as chaos erupted around them. The stranger was thrown aside, detained again by the suited men, fear written across their faces. But a strange energy surged from the device, shimmering like a mirage, weaving through the air. "Run," Alex shouted to Jamie, urgency in every syllable. They scrambled to their feet, but the world around them seemed to swirl in a surreal haze. The crowd's screams echoed, a cacophony of unbridled terror as people scrambled to escape. Jamie's hand slipped into Alex's, her grip fierce. "What did he do?" she gasped, panic flooding her words. "I don't know," he yelled, his voice thick with tension as they pushed against the tide of chaos. But just then, a figure stepped from the shadows, an older woman, weathered yet regal. Her presence commanded attention, silencing the tumult. "Enough," she called out, voice like steel. The crowd fell still, confusion painting every face. The suited men paused, surprise flickering before recognition set in. The stranger quaked, still pinned down, unable to move. "Lady Vesper," one of the men hissed, a mix of fear and respect lacing his tone. "You shouldn't be here." "Shouldn't be here?" she echoed, stepping closer. "The time has come, and you know it." The stranger's eyes widened with fear. "No, you promised," he pleaded, desperation clawing at his voice. Suddenly, Alex felt an icy chill run down his spine. The intensity in the air shifted, a dark truth swirling like storm clouds. "What have you all gotten involved in?" he whispered, realization dawning. Was Jamie a pawn in some twisted game? Lady Vesper's gaze turned to Jamie, piercing through the chaos like a beacon. "You have no idea what you're capable of, child." Alex's breath caught. Everything had just flipped. What was Jamie hiding? Who was this woman? An unbearable weight dropped into the pit of his stomach. "Run, Jamie!" he shouted, but doubt washed over him. What if she was the key? What if leaving was the wrong choice? The world was collapsing around him, secrets spilling like loose bricks from a crumbling wall. What was the truth behind this storm? What exactly had he walked into? In this flash of chaos, everything changed. Every question grew louder, demanding answers that seemed just out of reach. The atmosphere felt electric, with every heartbeat resonating like a drum. Alex remained rooted, caught between Jamie's terrified eyes and the menacing, suited figures. Lady Vesper's voice sliced through the tension, demanding authority as she stepped closer to the chaotic scene. Yet just as the level of dread peaked, the rain began to quiet, almost as if the world itself held its breath. "What do you mean she's important?" Alex shouted, desperate for answers. His heart raced with each passing second, the urgency of the moment wrapping around him like a vice. "You don't understand," Lady Vesper said, her voice steady but tinged with something dark. "Jamie is part of this. She's more than a street kid." Jamie blinked, confusion knitting her brow. "What are you talking about?" Panic danced in her voice. "I'm just me." And then the world cracked open. In a blinding flash, a figure emerged from behind Lady Vesper. One Alex never expected to see. It was a young woman, strikingly familiar, with haunting features that sent chills down Alex's spine. "Maya," he gasped, disbelief gripping him. The past rushed back. Maya had disappeared years ago, leaving behind only questions and broken hearts. Maya? How? Words tumbled from Alex's lips. Stunned, his mind raced, pieces colliding. Was she alive all this time? Had she been connected to this nightmare? Maya's eyes locked onto Jamie's, a flash of recognition sparking between them. "I never thought it would come to this," she whispered, a tremor beneath her facade. "You were supposed to be safe." Safe from what? Jamie's voice trembled, fear slicing through her determination. But for Alex, everything suddenly clicked into place, releasing a torrent of memories, the secretive whispers, the hidden glances, the way Maya had once spoken about family. The suited men exchanged frantic looks, uncertainty spreading visibly among them. "This isn't how it was supposed to go down," one muttered, his voice shaky. "We were following orders, Lady Vesper." "Orders? What orders?" Alex snapped, frustration boiling. But before he could demand answers, the air exploded with energy, vibrating through the crowd. Alex's heart dropped as an unfamiliar sound echoed from the distance, a low, ominous rumble, like thunder rolling in the belly of the earth. Maya's eyes widened. "We need to go. Now." Her voice cracked like ice beneath pressure. She glanced at Jamie, urgency flooding her features. "They can't find you. What's happening?" Jamie cried, desperation spilling over. Alex felt her grip on his hand tighten, a lifeline amid the swirling chaos. But as Maya darted forward, there was a sudden surge of emotion. Love, loss, anger, culminated in one single act of defiance. In a desperate attempt, Maya turned to Jamie, pulling her close. "You have to trust me." And then, with a swift movement, she pressed something into Jamie's hand, a delicate pendant that sparkled like stars against the rain-soaked backdrop. "Keep this safe." With that, everything shifted again. The suited men charged, eyes wild, voices frantic. "Get the package. Don't let them escape." In a heartbeat, it descended into madness. The crowd erupted into a frenzy, people pushing and shoving, fear amplifying. Alex's heart raced as he pulled Jamie back, shielding her from the chaos. The world around them melded into a blurring storm of frantic energy, headlights flashing, screams rising to a deafening pitch. But the most shocking moment came as an explosion of light erupted from where Maya stood, forcing Alex to shield Jamie from a wave of blinding brightness. When the light faded, Maya was gone, leaving nothing but the chaos in its wake. "Where did she go?" Jamie whispered, eyes wide, confusion mingling with panic. "I don't know," Alex snapped, each word dripping with frustration and fear. Then, something deeper struck him. "That pendant, what did she give you?" Jamie glanced down, her breaths quickening. I don't know." The rain began to pour again, washing away the remnants of the moment, leaving behind an unsolvable puzzle. Alex's mind spun. Had Maya returned to save Jamie, or had she vanished into the storm, leaving them to face a battle they didn't understand? The urgent question loomed. Who were they really up against? As shadows loomed over the crowd, uncertainty and danger hung in the air. Their lives, tangled in a web of secrets and hidden histories, had just begun to unravel. The chaos around them seemed to pulse with life. Alex held Jamie's hand tightly. His heart raced, each beat pounding against his ribs like a drum. The crowd swirled, breaths mingling with rain and fear, and then everything froze. A familiar figure emerged from the shadows, cutting through the clamoring chaos like a knife. It was Maya, her features sharp and unyielding, but there was something different about her, something dark and unsettling. "You shouldn't be here," Alex gasped, confusion and disbelief twisting in his gut. "Neither should you," she replied, her voice steady, almost cold. It wasn't the warmth he remembered. Her eyes sparkled with an intensity he'd never seen before, a storm brewing behind them. "What are you talking about?" he shouted, but her gaze flitted past him, locking onto Jamie. In an instant, everything shifted, a tangible energy crackling in the air. "Jamie," she said, voice dropping to a near whisper, "you have to come with me. You have no idea what's happening. No idea what you are. The words struck like lightning, electrifying the space between them. Jamie, grip tightening on Alex's hand, looked from Maya to him, her brows knit in confusion. What do you mean, what I am? Maya stepped closer, a solemn urgency in her eyes. You've got to trust me, not him. She pointed at Alex, a fierce intensity flickering beneath her calm exterior. What? Alex felt the ground shift beneath him. You have to be kidding. I just saved her. I was trying to protect her. That's what you think. Maya shot back, her voice rising. But I can't let you endanger her. You don't know what's at stake. The crowd seemed to melt away, leaving just the three of them. The suited men still loomed, but their urgency shifted into confusion, eyes darting between the trio, like spectators at a play gone wrong. Jamie shook her head, bewildered. You're lying. You have no idea what I've been through. You don't know who you really are. Maya's voice rose like a wave, threatening to crash down. This is bigger than any of us. Before Alex could respond, a low rumble echoed in the distance, building tension in the air. Maya turned abruptly, her expression shifting from anger to panic. We need to move, now. Suddenly, chaos erupted. It felt surreal as the world shifted, every face morphing into fear. The suited men began shouting, their voices discordant amid the rising dread. Secure the area, one of them barked, shoving through the crowd with a newfound urgency. What happened next unfolded so quickly, it sent ripples of shock through everyone present. With a swift motion, Maya reached up, pressing her palm against Jamie's forehead. A blinding light flashed from her hand, illuminating the space around them like a sudden sunrise. In the same breath, Jamie gasped, her body tensing. I'm sorry, Maya murmured, her tone almost tender, yet weighed with something far deeper. In that moment, Alex's heart stopped. The air thickened, and the world around them faded into a blur. As the light faded away, Jamie collapsed, her eyes dulling like flickering candles. Alex felt a cold chill grip him. What did you do? Panic clawed at his throat. Maya remained silent, a mask of regret painted across her features. She's awakening. Awakening? The words echoed ominously. In that split second, Alex's world twisted, collapsing in on itself like a house of cards. Jamie wasn't just a street kid wrapped in tattered blankets. She was something more, something hidden and dangerous. The truth simmered just out of reach. Elusive like fog in the morning light. The crowd stood frozen, whispers spiraling around them, hushed gasps punctuating the thick with disbelief. Maya, explain, Alex demanded, desperation spilling from his lips. But Lady Vesper stepped forward, an unreadable look on her face as her gaze moved between them. It's time you all understand, she said slowly. Everything you thought you knew is just a part of the game. The twist lingered in the air, unresolved questions hanging like heavy clouds. Alex's mind raced. Who was Jamie really? Why had Maya brought them to this moment? And as Jamie lay unconscious, something powerful shifted within him, igniting a sense of urgency he couldn't ignore. The storm wasn't just outside. It was brewing inside their very souls. What secrets lay buried? What truths would shatter their world? With every passing second, the storm of chaos threatened to reclaim them all. The air pulsated with tension as Maya's words hung in the stormy atmosphere. Everyone held their breath. Alex's heart thudded in his chest, confusion swirling amidst the chaos. What do you mean Jamie's special? He demanded, panic clawing at him. The suited men stirred, eyes darting between the trio, their faces etched with uncertainty. Maya took a step closer to Jamie. You were never just a street kid, she insisted. There's so much more at play here. Before Jamie could respond, a rumble surged through the ground, a deep, thunderous roar that sent tremors through their feet. Then, without warning, the pavement shattered beneath them with an explosive crack, sending a shower of debris into the air. "Everyone move," a voice bellowed from somewhere in the crowd. But it was too late. A dark figure emerged from the gaping hole, rising from the depths like a nightmare incarnate. It was a creature, massive and shadowy, its form twisting and rippling like smoke. Its eyes glowed with an eerie light, piercing through the confusion. Screams erupted, echoing off the walls of the nearby buildings, as people stumbled back, fear rippling through them. "What the hell is that?" Alex shouted, instinctively pulling Jamie close. But Maya's expression shifted. Her eyes widened, filled with something between shock and recognition. "No, it can't be," she whispered, staring at the creature as it emerged, thundering towards them. "Stay back," one of the suited men yelled, retreating in sudden fear. But the creature's gaze locked onto Jamie, and in that moment, everything shifted again. "Jamie, run!" Alex shouted, but she was frozen, unable to tear her gaze away from the looming threat. And just like that, everything changed. With a deafening roar, the creature lunged at the crowd, the force of its movement scattering people like leaves in a storm. It reached for Jamie with clawed hands that shimmered with a dark light. "No!" Maya screamed, stepping in front of Jamie, arms outstretched. "You can't take her." But the creature paused, its glowing eyes narrowing. Time seemed to halt. Then it hesitated, as if recognizing something within Jamie. "What's happening?" Alex hissed, heartbeat racing. "Why isn't it—" Suddenly, a high-pitched scream pierced through the chaos. One of the suited men fell back, his voice thick with fear. "It's her, the prophecy, she's the one." A wave of emotion crashed over Alex. "What prophecy?" he gasped, feeling the world fall out from under him. The creature turned again, energy swirling. Flames flickered at its claws as its focus intensified, locking onto Gary. It was clear. This creature was after Jamie. Maya stepped back, her face pale. "You didn't know, did you?" But before she could elaborate further, the air around them crackled, and the moment shattered like glass. "Run!" the older suited man shouted, snapping them out of their trance. The crowd erupted into a frenzy, a stampede of bodies rushing away from the creature. "Wait!" Alex shouted, but Jamie remained, eyes locked onto the monster, the fear mingled with a strange sense of recognition. "What do you mean I'm the one?" she whispered, confused and afraid. The creature roared again, and in that instant, a blinding light exploded from Jamie, shattering the darkness that surrounded them. "What did you just do?" Maya yelled, eyes wide, both terrified and astonished. As the flash engulfed the area, Alex shielded his eyes. The world around him spun, sending dizzying waves through his mind. And then, it happened. The sensation of time folding in on itself. Every moment, twisting, swirling, and coiling into a singularity. When the light receded, the scene morphed. Jamie stood transformed, surrounded by an aura of shimmering energy. Her eyes glowed, a brilliant light cutting through the encroaching darkness. "Just what are you?" Alex breathed, heart racing. But before Jamie could respond, the air erupted with a deafening crack, shaking them to their cores. The ground trembled again beneath their feet. From the shadows, another figure appeared, a woman cloaked in darkness, her lips curling into a sinister smile. "You think you can escape, my little pawn?" she hissed, her voice dripping with malice. Alex felt a chill whip through him. "Who are you?" But before she could answer, the creature lunged towards Jamie again, claws ready to strike, and in that moment, everything blurred. Relationships unmade and remade in an instant. The air pulsed, and everything changed. This was not just a fight for survival anymore. This was the beginning of a war beyond comprehension. And as time warped again, leaving tremors of uncertainty in its wake, Alex could only watch as the world spiraled down a path of darkness. The only question that lingered: had they entered a game where loss was inevitable? The air thickened with dread as Maya stood there, an otherworldly glow surrounding Jamie. The energy crackled, a fierce storm inside and out. Alex clutched Jamie's hand, heart racing, confusion swirling in a tempest of disbelief. What had she awakened? Then the creature lunged again, its claws outstretched, but a sudden roar echoed, shaking the ground beneath them. The dark figure paused, its glowing eyes flickering between anger and fear. It stepped back, as if sensing a power it couldn't comprehend. "Jamie!" Alex's voice cut through the chaos, desperate, searching her face for answers. "What are you?" But the moment hung heavy in the air. Before Jamie could respond, the world seemed to pause. Just then, a blinding light erupted once more, blurring all their edges, even the creature. And then, silence fell. Everyone stood frozen. The world was gone. Just stillness, suspending the chaos. Then, slowly, the glow faded. Jamie looked different. There was strength in her posture now. Her eyes shone, and for a heartbeat. Alex thought maybe they could get through this together. But just then, a piercing scream broke the silence. "No!" A figure rushed from the crowd, pushing through the chaos. It was a young boy, no older than 10, with tears streaming down his face. His eyes were wild, filled with sorrow. "Stop! Don't hurt her!" Alex felt a jolt as the boy drew nearer. There was something hauntingly familiar about him, a shadow from his past creeping up. But before he could think, the boy's gaze locked onto Jamie. "She's the one. You can't take her," he shouted. Desperation tinged with something deeper, darker. Suddenly, Jamie gasped. "Eli?" The name slipped from her lips like a forgotten memory. "How do you know me?" And then it hit like a freight train. Eli wasn't just a boy. He was her brother. "What?" Alex's breath hitched. Confusion swirled, but before he could gather his thoughts, Eli's expression shifted. "They'll come for you, Jamie. You have to remember." He turned, looking back at the shadows forming in the distance. The suited men were regrouping, eyes locked on Jamie, tension thickening like storm clouds. "Get the package," a voice barked. "What are you talking about?" Alex yelled, frustration boiling over. But Eli didn't answer. Instead, he reached into his pocket, pulling out a small, battered piece of paper. "This is what they want." Maya's eyes widened. "Where did you get that?" "It came from Mom." "Before," he faltered, emotions swirling. The crowd shifted back, breaths hitching in unison. "Before what?" Jamie pressed, voice trembling. "Before she left us, before they came." Eli's voice broke, a haunting echo of grief weighing down on them. The light around Jamie flickered. "Mom," she murmured. "What do you mean?" Then another roar echoed, pulling everyone back to the present. The monster lunged again, claws ready. But this time, Jamie stepped forward, defiance blazing in her eyes. "No, you won't take me. You won't take him." The power radiating from her felt almost tangible. "Jamie, don't!" Alex shouted. But she was different now. Eyes ablaze, she took a step closer to the monstrous figure, and that was when everything shifted again. A shimmering light enveloped Jamie and Eli, the room spinning as they both glowed bright, enough to blind them all. And in that moment of brightness, Maya staggered back, sadness washing over her face. But the shock didn't just ripple outward, something broke within Alex. "Are you telling me they're what?" Then, without warning, the ground trembled harder, and the creature lunged once more. It was as if time folded upon itself in a meltdown of shattering revelation. Then, right before everything blurred away into nothing, Jamie cried out, "Wait, there's something I haven't told you." And the silence that followed felt heavier than all the chaos before. Her secret hung in the air like a time bomb poised to shatter the fragile reality they all clung to. "Wait, there's something I haven't told you." Jamie's voice cut through the chaos, sharp and desperate. She stood there, trembling but fierce, energy radiating from her as the creature loomed closer. claws gleaming in the dim light. The crowd, whispering and backing away, hung on her words, every single person frozen in anticipation. "What is it?" Alex demanded, heart pounding. The air felt heavy, thick with uncertainty. And in that moment, all he could think was how breathtaking Jamie looked, her light washing over everything, pushing back the darkness. I'm not just a kid. I'm one of them," she cried, tears streaming down her cheeks. "I'm part of the prophecy. The one they're all searching for." Alex's chest tightened. "What do you mean?" he gasped, blood running cold. Was she serious? It didn't make sense. Jamie was just Jamie, the girl he'd seen taking care of those babies on the street. But before she could elaborate, another tremor shook the ground. The dark creature hesitated, eyes locked onto Jamie with a strange fascination. "Stop," Maya shouted, stepping forward. "This isn't what it looks like." But Jamie wasn't listening. "I didn't want to tell you, because I thought I could protect you. But it's too late." Her voice cracked, filled with anguish and fear. Then, in the same breath, the shadows around them thickened, swirling like a storm. "You should have never." "Come here, Jamie," a sultry voice echoed from the darkness. Nerve-wracking silence filled the space, followed by the crack of thunder. A figure stepped out from the shadows, tall and imposing. Everyone gasped. It was a woman, her hair like night, her eyes gleaming with a cold light. Mistress. The suited man hesitated, suddenly nervous. "We didn't expect you." "A mistake you won't repeat," she hissed, locking onto Jamie with a predatory gaze. "You left, and now you've come back. But you're not alone. You brought him." She turned her attention to Alex, a chilling grin spreading across her face. "What do you want with her?" Alex shouted, holding Jamie protectively, but feeling an overwhelming dread wash over him. "Her? Nothing." "But you." The mistress's voice dripped with malice, fingers curling. "I have been waiting for this moment since she slipped away from my grasp. You have something that belongs to me." "What are you talking about?" Alex felt the ground beneath him shift again, the world tilting dangerously. "Jamie is not just a child. She is the key. The key to everything I need to reclaim my power. And you, Alex, you're standing in my way." His mind whirled. Power, what did that even mean? And then reality struck like a bolt of lightning. Suddenly everything he thought he knew unraveled like a frayed thread. "Wait," Jamie gasped, eyes widening. "You're saying I'm part of some plan? You're lying." The mistress's laughter echoed, dark and cold. "You really are naive, girl. Did you think your mere existence here was a coincidence? You were meant to be found." And that's when it hit Alex like a hammer. This wasn't just some accident. Jamie's life had always been entangled in a darker, twisted fate. Both of their lives were. "What have you done?" Maya whispered, horrified. But before anyone could react, Jamie's expression shifted from fear to determination. "No, I won't let you use me." But then, with a sinister smirk, the mistress reached into her pocket and pulled out a long silver pendant that glimmered ominously. "Oh, but you will, just like your mother before you." The air around them crackled. Every single person there felt a wave of dread wash over them. Jamie paled, realization dawning in her eyes. "Mom," she whispered, voice trembling. "What do you mean?" "Your mother was the last key," the mistress hissed, eyes gleaming. "And now, it's your turn." You could hear a pin drop as the crowd held its breath, tension squeezing like a vice. Alex's heart raced. He turned to Jamie, disbelief clawing at his gut. Is this true? But as Jamie and the mistress locked eyes, something unexpected happened. The pendant blazed with an intense light, illuminating the darkness and sending an unbearable energy coursing through the air. Jamie gasped, eyes widening in horror. It can't be." And before Alex could grasp the magnitude of the reveal, the ground split open beneath them, sucking everything down into the darkness. All he could see was Jamie's terrified face as everything fell away. "Jamie!" he screamed, reaching for her, but it was too late. The world darkened, and he found himself standing alone on the edge of an abyss. Suddenly, the mistress smirked, shadows dancing around her. "Welcome to the game, Alex. I hope you're ready." And in that moment, everything changed. What was real? What was a lie? As the darkness swallowed him, the echoes of Jamie's fear rang in his ears, and the terrifying truth settled in. He had just stumbled into a nightmare deeper than he ever imagined. What were they really fighting for? And could he ever bring Jamie back? The darkness swallowed him whole. Alex barely had time to breathe before he felt the pull, a wild current dragging him downward. But just as terror gripped him, the ground shifted again. He lands on something solid, but beneath him, there was a deep, endless void. The air tasted like static, vibrating through every nerve. "Where am I?" he gasped, scrambling to his feet. He was alone, but the shadows whispered around him, taunting him. The world above felt far away. The storm, the chaos, everything faded into insignificance. Then, out of the gloom, a face emerged. It was Jamie's, but different. The light that had once surrounded her was gone, replaced by shadows that seemed to flicker in and out of existence. "Alex," she said, voice trembling, "help me." But there was something behind her eyes, a flicker of something dark lurking just beneath the surface. "Jamie, what happened?" He reached for her, but she stepped back, and it sliced through him like a knife. "What's going on?" I'm not just a kid," she said, and the words fell heavy. "I thought I could hide it, but I can't." Then, the shadows shifted. The fear in her eyes widened. "We need to get out of here. Where's the mistress?" He felt his chest tighten. Everything was racing. The danger, the threat, they all felt so close, crashing down like a tidal wave. "She's the reason we're here," Jamie whispered, glancing over her shoulder. The shadows danced, pulsing with energy. "But there's more. She isn't just looking for me." Alex felt a chill crawl up his spine. "What do you mean?" Before she could answer, a rush of wind filled the space, and the figure of the mistress appeared. But she wasn't the same. There was something eerie about her presence, as if she were feeding off the darkness surrounding them. "Ah, Jamie," she crooned, eyes glittering like shards of glass. "You've always been special, haven't you?" "No," Jamie shouted, raising her hands, a bead of energy forming between her palms. It pulsed with a bright light, pushing back against the shadows. "Stay away from me. Do you really think you can fight me?" The mistress laughed, but the sound turned hollow. "You have no idea how powerful you truly are, little girl." As they clashed, Alex felt a surge of energy, like muscles pulling taut, and he saw it, the truth behind Jamie's power. She wasn't just a vessel. She was a conduit, a link between worlds. Then, with a wild glance, Jamie stepped forward. "You have to listen to me, Alex. I'm not the only one. There's a reason you're connected to me, to this." "What do you mean?" But before she could explain, the mistress waved her hand. The very air distorted and shifted, and with a chilling smile, she unleashed a force that knocked Alex to the ground. For a moment, everything went black. Then he woke up again, but something was different. The shadows felt lighter, the air less oppressive. And standing before him was not just Jamie this time. Who are you?" Alex stammered, eyes widening as he took in the sight. It was Jamie, yes, but she looked older, wiser, and something about her felt ancient. "Don't you see?" she said softly, but her voice held power. "I'm not just Jamie. I'm also the echo of my ancestors. We've been waiting for this moment. For you." "What?" Everything spun in his mind, his thoughts scattered like leaves in the wind. "You're part of some family legacy. Exactly, she replied, her face glowing with a mix of fear and resilience. And you're part of it too. Something about you, it's connected to the prophecy, to us. A powerful energy surged between them, intertwining their fates. Alex shivered. What prophecy? But before she could answer, the mistress surged forward, fury lighting her eyes. You can't hide from your destiny, she screeched, her voice crackling like fire. As shadows reached out to engulf them, Alex knew everything had changed. The stakes raised higher than he ever imagined, and as the darkness clawed closer, clinging like a desperate lover, one burning question seared through him. Would he stand by Jamie's side, even if it meant losing everything? The shadow swirled, crackling with raw energy, as Alex bravely positioned himself between Jamie and the mistress. Stay behind me, he warned, heart racing as he knew the stakes were higher than ever. The air felt thick with tension, charged with fear and anticipation. Jamie's eyes glowed, and the air trembled as she summoned every ounce of strength she possessed. No, the mistress screeched, eyes widening with fury. You will not harness your power against me. A sudden rush of wind whipped through the chaos, but Jamie stood firm. I won't let you take me. I'm not a pawn in your game anymore. Her voice rang with a clarity that cut through the darkness, reverberating against the very fabric of their realm. Yes, you are, roared the mistress. Shadows lunged toward Jamie, dark tendrils eager to ensnare her. But in a stunning burst of light, Jamie unleashed a wave of energy that pushed back the shadows, sending them recoiling. Alex watched, jaw dropped. You can do this, Jamie. You're powerful. He felt hope flicker, bright and wild, urging him to fight alongside her. You're right, she shouted, and in that moment of clarity, she found her strength. The mistress snarled, frantic now. As Jamie summoned the light within, a radiant glow burst forth, enveloping them both. With an echoing cry, Jamie thrust her hands toward the darkness, a beam of pure energy ripping through the shadow's grip like a bolt of lightning. No, the mistress screamed, desperation lacing her voice. You cannot defy me. But Jamie was not afraid. With each pulse of energy, she drew strength not just from herself, but from the very history and legacy she had been born into. I'll protect my family. I will reclaim my future. The air began to crack with an otherworldly tension. Alex felt the ground beneath them tremble as the light expanded, swirling and consuming the darkness. The shadows screeched, writhing, until they dissolved into nothingness, leaving only the light behind. As the echoes faded, silence settled like a blanket. Alex glanced at Jamie, who was now trembling slightly, but shining with a newfound fire. We did it, he whispered, awestruck. But then, the ground beneath them trembled again. No, this isn't over, a low voice growled, re-emerging. The mistress materialized from the fading shadows, eyes flaring with fury, ready for one last confrontation. But Jamie stood firm, heart racing, the light still swirling around her. Enough, Jamie shouted, her voice powerful and resonant. And with a final surge of her energy, she summoned a burst of light that enveloped them all, merging with the darkness into a brilliant spectrum of color. In that moment, something shifted. The darkness retreated, and with it, the mistress's form dissipated, her scream echoing into silence. Goodbye, Alex whispered, heart heavy and yet relieved. The weight of their battle felt lifted as the air cleared. Light washed through the space, illuminating everything around them until it felt like dawn breaking after a long, dark night. Jamie turned to Alex, her eyes shimmering with gratitude, relief, and something deeper. But there would be no time for words. They both knew the journey ahead wouldn't be easy. I'll find my way back, she promised, courage shining through the remnants of her fear. And I'll always remember what you did for me. We're in this together, Alex replied, squeezing her hand. With a final glance, he stepped back as the light began to pull them in different directions. the realms they belonged to slowly reintegrating with their realities. As the brightness faded, they felt themselves separate, longing and hope merging with uncertainty. One last whisper cut through the air, "Keep fighting," and then she was gone. Alex stood in the now silent street, rain pattering softly around him. He felt the ache of loss, but hope fluttered within him. The fight wasn't over. Their paths would cross again. With the sun rising in the distance, he took a deep breath. The world felt new, filled with possibilities, a vibrant mix of light and shadow. They would reclaim their destinies, together, in spirit. But before he could lose himself in the wave of emotions, a voice pulled him back. "Hey, are you okay?" It was one of the onlookers, just some random person, brushing rain-soaked hair from their face as they stared, confused, at him. "Yeah," Alex whispered, a smile breaking through. "I will be." And just like that, with determination blazing in his heart, he turned to walk into his new dawn, knowing that every end leads to a new beginning. You have to subscribe right now to the channel so you don't miss any of the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button right now to feed the algorithm and flood the comments section with your thoughts and theories about this wild ending. Instantly share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see how this all wraps up. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait even one more second to share this.